I left this country 2 hours before my visa expired because my work visa actually in this particular country was, taking some time to be ready. Having read, having seen people, having experience with friends who overstay their visas and the implications that come with thereof, it's really not a good chance for you to stay or for you to overstay your visas. So I had a visa sponsorship job from China to Vietnam, and that was my first time actually traveling to Vietnam about 3 years ago. And when I arrived in Vietnam, the company, delaying processes in processing my work visa, so I had to leave Vietnam within 2 hours before my visa expired. And it was something I was not going to take chance on. I really wanted to leave the country as soon as possible without any problem with authorities, because when you overstay your visa, you can be in serious problems. I got to the airport, I booked a flight to Singapore because I didn't have to apply for any visa at Singapore. It's visa free for my citizenship. So, and when I got to the airport, I had about 1 hour 30 minutes to go through the airports before my visa expires, and I was just praying, oh Lord, I don't want to overstay my visa because it can be very problematic if I overstay my visa. And through all my traveling, I haven't overstayed my visa in any country, so I didn't want this to impact my travel or anyways. Come to think of getting arrested or detained and all that. So I did the ticket. I took my ticket from the counter from the airline and walked through to the immigration point. It was a long queue, so I was asking myself, should I move fast and should I explain my situation so that I can move fast, because I knew what was going to happen to me if I have to overstay my visa. I have a fair idea. So at the immigration queue, I was just hoping and wishing that I can cross. So I got to the immigration officer and I gave my passport to him, and he asked where I'm going. So I'm going to Singapore, asked me my return ticket, and when he checked my visa, he realized that I have some about few minutes for my visa to expire. So there was a little smile on his face, and I knew that this man knows that my visa is about to expire in the country, so I want to get out ASP sharp. I want to get out. And he gave me the exit stamp in my passport country. I left the immigration, went to the boarding area. When I left the immigration, I actually had about 15 minutes for my visa to expire. So at this point, I have crossed the immigration. So I'm in the airport waiting for boarding to Singapore. So I was asking myself, okay, what if my flight delays? Am I still illegal in the country? Of course, maybe yes or no. I don't know. And fortunately, my flight to Singapore was really on time, and did the boarding, and it was maybe 5 minutes before my visa got expired when the flight took off. And I was very relieved that I did not overstay my visa. In 2 hours, I left the country without overstaying my visa. And one may ask, oh, what if I overstay my visa for maybe 3 days, 2 days? What's the big deal about this? Well, it's actually a big deal if you overstay your visa. You may see it as seamless or maybe harmless, or just a little bit, why shouldn't I overstay it? No, even 1 day overstay can create problems for you. This is why you don't have to overstay your visa in any country. Legal consequences. if you overstay your visas, you are going to face legal consequences. Immediate illegality. Once you have overstayed your visa in the country, it means you have become unlawfully present once your visa has expired. So if you expired your visa in 1 hour, in 2 hours, or 3 days, 4 days, that means your presence in the country is illegal, and every activity that you do in the country will be termed as illegality. And you can see what is happening in US, right? Donald Trump, deportation, visa restrictions and all that. Then you can also have the problems of fines and detention. All right, I know in China there are some foreigners who get detained for some days or weeks before they are released. You have to pay the fine too, and then you are, deported back to your home country. And many countries fine or detain overstayers. In US, you can see people being detained, transferred to other countries and all that. It can create a lot of problems for you. And criminal records. Okay, in some nations, overstaying is a criminal offense, especially in the Asian country, where I have realized that they have a very strict immigration policies. And that is why you have to avoid overstaying your visa. Another problems that you may face when you overstay your visa is travel restrictions. You know, in your future visa applications, you can have your visa being denied or refused if you overstay in the country. Because, for example, if you overstay in country A and you're going to travel to country B in the near future, the country B that you are going to, the embassy will look at your records and they will see that, oh, you overstayed in this country. It's in the system. Everything that you do is, recorded into the system. So it's very important that you avoid any such situations. So overstaying can also affect your future visa applications. You can get denied if you are not able to explain your situation well in your application. You can get denied. You can also face entry bans. For example, if you are traveling to France and maybe you overstayed your visa in the US and you're traveling to France in the future, when you get to the France immigration port, you can be denied entry because they can check from your records that yes, you overstayed in some country. You can also be flagged in the immigration systems. You know, when you overstay your visas, the immigration can put a red alert on you in the system. So when you are traveling within the country or going through borders, you are being targeted as a criminal person who they are looking for you to be arrested. So overstayers go into shared security databases, and we are in a global village. So when you overstay in France, it's inputted into systems, and then it goes everywhere it goes everywhere globally. So you are applying for another visa in the future somewhere, it becomes a problem. Please don't overstay your visas, please. Your passport gets you fewer, all right, and fewer opportunities because it's stamped in your passport, and it makes your passport more weak to get more opportunities in the future. Another reason is being that you can face financial repercussions. Okay, financial repercussions, what I mean by this is you can be fined and you can be given some penalties. All right, some countries will charge you heavy amount of money or heavy fines if you overstay. They can calculate the number of days or years you overstayed and multiplied it with maybe a certain amount of money that you are supposed to pay, and then you pay that the totality. Once you overstayed your visa, everything or your presence in that country is illegal. So everything you're doing in the country becomes an illegality. It's interesting, right? Yes. So everything becomes an illegality. So you will have no work. If you are going to apply for a job, they will ask you about your papers because they need your papers so that when the authorities comes to the company where you are working, they'll be able to say that yes, you have documents. And companies will also employ travelers without documentations, also face sanctions. So you can get increased travel costs. For example, when you are forced deportation, it comes at your expense. In some countries, you have to pay for your own, flight ticket back home. I remember in China, there were some people who have to pay for their own flight ticket back home. The government is not going to do that. And that is the seriousness. So you are going to be detained, and until you get the money to buy your flight ticket back to your home country, you are not released. So imagine the number of days or weeks you can prepare yourself to get the money. You'll be detained. And I can give an example of China. It's a serious crime to overstay your visa. If you overstay your visas, handcuffed with your hand and your legs, come on, you don't have to go through this, my friends out there. So overstaying can really drain you. It can actually stress you a lot, and it can put you in a very depressing state. So I based on my travel experience, I will never advise you to overstay your visas. It also comes with risks to personal safety and rights. So your safety becomes questionable. You are not safe when you are walking in the country. You are looking at your back, left, left, right, asking yourself what is going on, right? Because you know yourself that you have overstayed and you are being, wanted. So your safety and your rights becomes very, very limited. You have no access to healthcare. You are very vulnerable to exploitations because you don't have documentations. And when the company is giving you the job, the company can say that, but you don't have a documentation, so I'm going to pay you maybe $10 or lesser. What else do you have to say? And detainment and forced departure. Right, you are detained and you are deported immediately after you are arrested in some situations. So you don't even have the chance of going back to your apartment or your accommodation to pick one or two staff. No, you are sent away. It also comes with long-term reputation damage. You overstayed your visa, so it affects your travel integrity and your reputation. It tarnishes your immigration history, and then in the future when you are applying for any other travel visa, you have to explain yourself and convince the immigration officers or the visa officers why your situation has changed, so they should have to give you the visa. And it becomes very hard to secure a visa, because your reputation has been dinged or your reputation has been tainted, and your travel history also has been stained. So it becomes very difficult to secure visas. It also brings impact on your family and group applications. So for example, you overstayed in country A, you're going to country B after 5 years or 6 years with your family, and then you realize that because you overstayed in country A some years back, it's coming back to haunt you again. So it's a long-term complications, problems that you are going to face when you overstay your visa. One mistake today can ruin opportunities tomorrow. If you find yourself in a situation where you have overstayed your visas in the country, this is what I think you should do ASAP. First, don't panic, but act fast, like Fast and Furious. All right, so you don't need to panic. However, what you have to do is make sure that you act immediately. All right, delays only makes things more worse and worse and worse. So the best thing I would suggest to you first is that do not panic. However, act as soon as possible. Don't delay anything. The second thing I would suggest to you in doing is that voluntarily go to the immigration and report yourself. in that situation, at least there will be some bit of leniency because you voluntarily came to the immigration to report yourself that, oh, I've overstayed my visas due to reason A, B, or C. So the immigration, if the punishment is going to be like 100%, it can maybe come to 80 or 70, which at least is much better than 100% punishment. So contact immigration authorities as soon as possible by yourself. Some countries allow voluntary, departure without any harsh penalties. All right. I think Donald Trump was saying something that, oh, you can, do voluntary deportation or something like that. So yeah, so there are some countries that they have those options for you to do. So as soon as possible, just leave. And even though countries may have some grace period for you, it's always not the case. The notion or the feeling of you overstaying your visas, if you know the complications as I've shared with you, you should never think of doing that. It could create problems for you. You consult an immigration lawyer if you can. If you have the finances to speak to an immigration lawyer about your situation, you can do that because there are some immigration lawyers who can stand in for you for your issues to be reduced. And also gather documents. All right, gather your documents because, for example, proof of illness, emergency, or maybe unavoidable situation can help your case. So when you go to the immigration, you can tell them that, or maybe you were sick at the hospital. What shows that you were sick? You need to prove something to them. Maybe you had delays about something. Yeah, so your situation must be supported with an evidence with immigration. For example, my situation, it was about 3 weeks for my visa to expire in China, my work visa, but company A was delaying to release me. So the new company had to go with me to the immigration within that 3 weeks, and we explained our situation to them, gave them evidences and all that. So the immigration gave me a grace period of 1 month to sort things out, and things worked out, and I got my new work visa for 2 years over there. So go to the immigration with evidence to support your situation, and that can help you. And avoid lying and faking documents. You'll be fished out if it makes your situation worse. And in worst case scenario, you can have a lifetime ban going to the country. Yeah, you can. So owing up, being honest, voluntary going to the immigration to explain your situation can go a long way and help your chances of fixing your overstaying. This will be my reasons to you why you shouldn't never overstay your visas. This is why government frowns on overstaying your visas. Government all over the world do not like people overstaying in their country because, one, it undermines immigration control. People are coming to the country, people are going out, so they need to check and know the amount of people coming in and going out. So if your visa is overstayed, it means you are taken out of the system, so they cannot count you as a legal person living in the country. So everything about you becomes an illegality, and therefore it undermines the immigration control over you. So it complicates lawful entry enforcement. Also, government frowns on you overstaying your visas due to economic strain. You understand? Because illegal residents often use services without paying taxes. Because if you have overstayed, it means you have no documents in the country. Therefore, any job that you get to do, you are not paying tax. You understand? So imagine there are over hundreds of people in the country doing some jobs and not paying tax. Economically, it's straining or is going against the government. So this is why government will not allow you to overstay. Then security risks. It becomes very risks when it comes to the security aspect, because they don't know you and they don't know where you are staying and all that. So because you have overstayed your visas, you are unknown in the system and they are looking for you, because perhaps you might have changed your accommodation, you might have changed your mobile phone, you might have changed a lot of things in your whereabouts. So you jump from community A, you jump to city A, country B, so they are looking for you. You are not, known. So it becomes a risk concern to the government, and it also creates unfair to legal applicants. So the government frowns this because they think that it becomes unfair to people who are living the country legally, because jobs that maybe the person having the right documents may have been given to someone who do not have the job. All right, because if you have the legal documents and you work, you will pay your tax. The government will get the money or the revenue from the tax to do some developmental projects. However, if you do not have the visa, or if you've overstayed the visa, you are working without paying tax. So you see, so the government will not allow you to do that, because they believe that, well, it's unfair to people who have the legal documents. All in all that I will say is that do not overstay your visas. It can create a lifetime problems for you. And what I will also say is that whenever you are traveling to any country, at least read something little about the immigration policies, what you need to do, what you don't have to do regarding the visas that you are having. It really helps you to find your way out when issues like this come. At least research and read something little about these countries, so that when you get there and there are any issues, you can find your way out. Overstaying your visas can ruin, it can destroy a whole part of you. It can, derail your life, but acting quickly can also save you from all these problems. All right, and I hope this video was helpful to you. So don't forget to click on the like button, and also please do subscribe to the channel for me. Subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel for me, and don't forget to also share this video to your friends, your contacts out there, so they can get informed about some of these things, and whenever they travel, they will take caution and know what to do and what not to do. Remember, respect the visa, respect the country, respect the laws, respect the local people in the country, and live within your limit. Once you do this, you will have a very good and peaceful stay in the country wherever you find yourself. So respect the visa, respect the country, and it will protect your future. Thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate your time, and until I see you again, bye bye.